What's going on, everybody? It's your boy DMV back with another one. Before you do anything else, make sure you like, subscribe. But today we're going to do something a little different. So I saw Mike McCarthy's press conference yesterday. So in bits and pieces, I'm going to take out certain key elements that I found in the press conference, and then I'm going to react to it and tell you guys how I feel about it, how confident I feel about what he said. And we're going to keep those points moving, and then I'm going to give you a final conclusion. So let's get into the press conference.
Playoff time, and it's really I talked about in the team meeting today. This is a time for all of us to be selfish. Every player, every coach, every support staff member, because we put so much into this season, getting ready for the season, and we're right where we need to be, and we need to take full advantage of that. And that's just really the tightness that we want in the commitment. Because last year I thought it was important for me to talk about. Green Bay in the beginning of the week. I did with the team. I regretted it. I don't think that doesn't even need to come into our energy base. So you live and learn. This game's about our commitment. It doesn't matter who we're playing. It really doesn't. I mean, I had no stake. I didn't watch one game prior to the yesterday's contest in preparation. So just started last night on the plane, and that's where I am, and I think that's clearly where our team is. Our team, this is it's just no time for that. I answered the questions honestly in here last year about my experience up there. It will not help us win. So if it doesn't help us win the game, I'm not interested. I apologize.
Yeah, I thought that it was very, very important that he addressed the Green Bay stuff, because I do think it was a mistake last year, making it a big spectacle of him going back, putting on the Lombardi coat and all of that type of stuff, and walk down memory lane. It did make it seem like it was him bigger than the team, and they made it a game in which the Dallas Cowboys were the clear better team, but I think that all of that factor kind of soaked into things and it made it a little bit more emotional. And in this game, if you make it more emotional than what it is, things can seep into the back of your mind and you start doing things that you probably shouldn't be doing. And I think that it led to Kellen calling a game in which, you know, it allowed for them to get back into the game. And next thing you know, when you're in the game, you have a whole bunch of momentum and then you lose a whole bunch of momentum. It's hard to gain it back. So I think it was important that he let it know that it's business as usual. And these guys are going to be locked in, not because it's Green Bay, but because they're the next opponent and that's who's in front of them. So I think that's the mark of a good coach, being able to recognize your faults, let the guys that you're leading know that you're making mistakes, and letting them know that we're not just letting them know, but putting the actions in place to not make those same mistakes and approach things a little bit differently. So I definitely love that segment. Appreciate my girl at BLS Jazz for pulling that on Twitter and giving me that idea to react to it. So let's move to the next subject.
The experience that your young players have, like Micah, he's a young guy, but 3 years now in the playoffs, CD, same type of thing. Do you think that there's any help for them in knowing the stage and the moment?
Oh, I think it definitely helps because it makes you hungry. They're definitely hungrier, and I think we all make a mistake. And I know, my first year in the league, it was 1993, and we lost the AFC Championship game in Buffalo, and I thought, man, this is awesome. This is great. I made more in playoff bonuses than I did in my salary, and so you think you're going to go there every year, and but that's not the reality of this league, So been a number of championship games, but only been to one Super Bowl. That's 30 years, and I just think that's the reality that I know, particularly older coaches and older players, definitely express to everybody because there's a playoff urgency that's different, and we all understand what's at hand here. We got this one opportunity, and we got to first things first, take care of the preparation.
I absolutely love what he said as far as leaning on experience. I thought it was an excellent question. I forget who asked the question. I apologize if you're watching this and I didn't give you the credit. It's because I didn't know who asked the question, but experience is sometimes the best teacher. They'll tell you that failure is the best teacher. And in every playoff run that I've had as either a player or a coach, I've always been able to lean on experience and be able to use that to move forward. And I think that it's important that this team, the leader of your team, can have you guys who have been through the same struggle and you guys have been through it together to use that experience to lean on moving forward. Green Bay over there, they're not going to have that. They're not going to have the guys to be able to lean on that type of stuff. So that's an advantage. It's an advantage to have experience. And this team had the experience last year. A lot of the young guys got their first playoff win at Tampa Bay. And then they know what it felt like to go to San Francisco and fall just a bit short. So I think that it's important to be able to lean on that experience. And if you look at it, some of the best dynasties or some of the best teams that have perennial playoff runs, they're able to use experiences from the past, and when things get too high, they're able to keep it even keel. So I think that it's important for guys like Micah and CD to be able to have that experience and have that to lean on. Because I do remember at the end of the playoff game last year, Micah was very, very, distraught because you got to think he's coming off his first playoff victory, and he realized that a lot of the same guys aren't going to be back. Now that you know that, there's a sense of urgency there, and I think that that's what this team will lean on, with Mike McCarthy leading them.
In the regular season, obviously you're taking over the play calling duties at the start of the year. How much of that relationship between you and Dak and the growth of this offense throughout the year is what you implemented versus his progression as well?
Well, I think if you've asked any offensive play caller and if you've asked any quarterback, I mean, that relationship's imperative to success. I think that's being captain obvious. So everybody does it differently. Everybody plays quarterback a little differently. Everybody calls plays a little differently. Everybody coaches four verticals differently. So I think just being in tune with that, the connection, the communication, the detail, the organization, his preparation process matching, Brian Schottenheimer, Scott Tolzien, Chase Hazlitt's, Ryan Feeder. We got a really tight, Evan Harrington. Our quarterback room's diverse, so getting that nice and tight and getting him into a rhythm, and I think Cooper Rush and Trey play a big part of that too. So all of that factors, but at the end of the day, I'm calling it and he's hauling it, is what Dak likes to say, and I think that's the way it has to go. And that connection's it takes extra time. We put the time in early through camp, and like during the course of the week. That was something that just from being a head coach, just doing the head coach only responsibility, I was concerned about it because it's different. I know how much time it goes into it, but it's worked out well, and I think the proof is in the numbers.
To Dak and the time you said you guys put into camp, was it all just, hey, here are the plays, or is it personal stuff that you guys are trying to? Because you guys have been close since you got here, but this obviously draws you closer when it's that much more time.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think the Thursday night meeting is probably a pretty good gauge, to answer your question. We get together Thursdays at 5 o'clock, and it usually goes to around 7. So you got a 2-hour meeting, half an hour, 40 minutes is probably football. The other's about life, and that's imperative. Yeah, so that's a big part of it.
Just the nature of this time of year, any of your staff or assistants get interest from elsewhere. How do you handle that and kind of go about it?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's excellent opportunity, and I think it's great to see your individuals on your staff recognized because it's no different when players get recognized. Everybody knows this is the ultimate team game. So yeah, we communicate and we follow the guidelines.
I've been kind of fighting with this, I guess, this narrative of Mike McCarthy having to have a deep playoff run in order for him to stay. And I think it's a mistake if that is the case. And here's why. Your quarterback, your high-paid quarterback, who's an elite quarterback, who should be first-team All-Pro, who's going to get MVP votes, he completely trusts not only his head coach, but the guy who's calling plays. He trusts the system. For the first time in a long time, you see Dak Prescott actually trusts the environment that has been built, right? And it's an environment that has won you 12 games 3 years in a row, which is very, very rare. You only get the best of the best quarterbacks and coach combos that can do that. I don't see in the coaching market where another guy comes in here and it keeps everything together, which is the nucleus. You have your nucleus of Micah Parsons, CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott. You might be able to call them the new triplets, and they completely trust your head coach. And Rio said something to me a long time ago, Rio Robinson of Washington, where he wants a young offensive mind with his quarterback. Because here's the thing about it. If you have a defensive mind as your head coach, you're always going to have a revolving door of offensive talent leaving. Because if they're good enough, they're going to leave and take another job. And then you got another offensive guy. And vice versa or whatever. Or if they're bad enough, then they're going to get fired. The offensive guys are always the next in line, and they're always the revolving door. But with defense, your quarterback doesn't have to worry about who your defensive coordinator is. But if you got a coach combo and a quarterback combo and it works, you keep that. I think letting go of McCarthy would be a mistake, personally. And you can hear it, and you can hear how he feels, excited about his assistants and knows just how the process goes. If Dan Quinn has to leave, Dan Quinn has to leave. But right now we have a formula at coaching quarterback that I think will make you a contender for the next couple of years, or put you in a situation where your team, that even if bad things happen, they can have a Cooper Rush come in and still keep things afloat until your quarterback can get back. You see it happening in Cleveland. But when you have a guy that's proven, who has the experience, and then your quarterback and your leaders love him, you keep him. And that's how I feel about the Mike McCarthy situation. Whether we lose in the first round or not, I think Mike McCarthy should be around as long as your team, your nucleus trusts him. Appreciate you guys for stopping by, man. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, man. And I'm out. Peace.